What I'm going to do out here today is show you guys some fishing with my new Tenkara rod. If you have not tried Tenkara yet, it is a lot of fun and it's very simple. Okay, I always wondered why people who use this system talked about it so much, almost kind of like an advertisement, and now I get it. It's very simple. So if you've never used one of these before, you actually probably have. If you were a kid and you ever had like a telescoping crappie rod or even a cane pole like you can get at the farm store, it's the same concept, right? So folded down, it's very small, got a little tip there, little tip guard, and then this is the end of the rod. As you can see, it's really skinny. It's got this thing called a Lillian, which is like a little shock absorber. And you basically telescope it out. Mine came with this cool little line holder, which I further enhanced by putting one of these little rubber bands from a tippet spool on there. Gonna be fishing today with just this little streamer I made that looks kind of like a brown trout. It's on a 1/128 ounce jig head. So really light. In the pond here I have bluegill and I have crappie. I also have wipers, although since I've stocked them, I've never seen them. I assume they're in here. I've seen them on the fish finder, I think. So I'm gonna kind of unspool this deal here and just untelescope this. So you're going to see some sights here. We have some geese, we have a few ducks. Obviously, they like to join in on the fishing. So the pond belongs more to them than it does to me, so I'm just going to have to be careful of what I do. So the line that you use with Tenkara is also pretty simple. What I have here is just what's called a level line. It's probably about the equivalent of 20 or 30 pound monofilament, but it's bright orange, so it's really easy to see. And I have about the length of the pole, which is 12 feet, tied on there. Then I have a tippet ring. If you've never used a tippet ring, these things are brilliant. It's going to save you a lot of knot tying, and it's going to save your leaders, because if you have to retie your leaders and you're using like a blood knot or something, you're going to continually be shortening the end of that leader, and it's going to be getting thicker and thicker, and it's harder to tie with. And then I have just some tippet on here, and I have my jig. So I'm going to set up over here. There's usually a lot of bluegill on this side of the pond over here, where it's kind of shallow water going toward deep water, and they like to hang out there. So I'm going to go over there and see if I can't catch some to show you guys. The casting method is pretty easy. You really can't do it wrong, I guess. It's just kind of a back and forth. So this lands kind of hard with the little jig head on it. If you have just a regular fly in here, it lands really soft. Much softer than you could land any sort of regular fly line. Just had a crappie here. So such a light bite, I didn't even know until I went into my back cast. Yeah. Hey! Ow! Man, another long distance release. See what I mean about you feel the bites, but you don't always connect. Hey! So this happens sometimes. You're just walking away, and that little tug moves it along. So here's a nice crappie. Stocked these in fall of 2018, so they're getting decent sized. I have caught some bigger than this from here. That's a pretty good size. Back he goes. Hooked another nice Another nice crappie here on this little jig, about the same size. So, really having a lot of fun with a Tenkara in the backyard today. What a beautiful fish. Hooked into another one here. Ooh, this is a nice bluegill. Let's see if we can land him. Landing the fish is a little harder with these because you gotta be able to grasp the line. But look at this guy. Wow. Is this a gorgeous fish or what? So the pond is stocked with these hybrid bluegills. They're a hybrid between a bluegill and a green sunfish, and they're supposed to not over reproduce and also grow faster. So this is a 2-year-old fish, and as you can see, very, very beautiful. Wow. Well, I fished about half an hour and caught 2 nice crappies, that really nice bluegill, and lost several other crappies. It seems like even when the water's pretty cold, the crappies have still been biting on warm days. So I'd encourage you to try one of these Tenkara rods or something like it. This one was a birthday gift. Thank you, Dad. It's a 12-foot, relatively fancy graphite rod with a cork grip. Really great for trout fishing and just about any kind of fishing in the Midwest. These run about $179, which is, kind of on the higher end for these, although I'm sure you can spend as much as you want. I will say that you can also go to the farm store and get a fiberglass one that is, wouldn't really have a cork handle, probably a foam handle. I got one on clearance for $7. So it's a lot heavier. Obviously, it's not going to have the fly rod feel. But if you are going to be just, mainly fishing in still water like ponds or lakes, or if you want to try to go for bigger fish like catfish, something like that could work out really, really well. So I don't think you have to spend a lot to get into Tenkara fishing. That's one of the really nice things about it. You notice I don't have a tapered leader. This monoline is very inexpensive. There are things you can do to make it fancier and more complicated, but who needs that these days, right? So give this a try. I find myself singing its praises more and more as I enjoy more time fishing and less time messing with tackle. So I can see the geese want to get on the pond, so I'm going to stop fishing for the day because I share it with them and they like to get out here at dusk. Alright guys, we'll see you next time. Trout fishing in Iowa, or pond fishing in Iowa. Well, right now it looks like my big orange cat has jumped onto a pallet structure I made for the ducks. That's a pretty bad idea. He's not much of a swimmer. So we'll have to see how this resolves itself. Apparently he's a heck of a jumper. Unbelievable. Good job, Pookie.